April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and today I am here with two team members of the Sexual Harassment Assault Response Prevention Program here on Redstone Arsenal. So thank you for being here with us today, Mr. Larry Gray and Mr. Mark Thomas. It is a pleasure to have you both. I hope that this discussion will be eye-opening and informative for those who need it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
We're super excited to discuss this topic in hopes that it would shed some light on much needed concerns regarding sexual harassment and sexual assault. So for starters, let's begin with what is the difference between sexual harassment and sexual assault? And anyone can answer.
The way I see it is basically sexual harassment is more or less what someone's particularly saying, how they go about saying things, and your sexual assault is more physical, more than anything else. So.
Okay, and do people often get the two confused?
Yes, because there's certain parts of sexual harassment where there is physical touch, but they're not sexually gratifying. So, for instance, you're sitting at your desk and somebody comes up and starts giving you a massage. That is improper. That's sexual harassment.
Right.
But if they came up and they touch you on your private parts, then that could be, sexual assault. Will be sexual assault.
Gotcha. So typically when you are dealing with sexual harassment or sexual assault, what do people usually come with? Like how can they come? How can they approach you for help?
Well, basically a one-on-one. You see us in the hallway. Give us a call on our Sharp Hotline phone number. We'll sit down and have a talk with them, kind of discuss the basic and general of what may have happened to them, and just get the basic information and go from there. And like, we're here to help and make sure they are taken care of. Basically, we're here to advocate for you and just want to make sure that you're taken care of. That's what it boils down to.
So speaking of Sharp, can you tell us what the program actually is and how someone would benefit from working with you?
Yes, of course. So, for instance, nowadays we have people that are sexually assaulted that may not want to go through the full treatment program as far as having a commander know about it, want to be private because they feel that they may have been in the wrong. So now we make sure that we take care of that person no matter what. So there's two reporting processes as well, restricted and unrestricted. And that person, if they come to us now, they have a choice. We let them make the choice of whether or not they want to go through the full investigations, reporting that person that did it, or say, hey, I just want to take care of my mental and physical state and health, and we do the restricted. And that way, we just take care of that person. So there are different ways to do it. And that's why the program is so much better now, because that person, the victim, makes the choice on how they want to be cared for. And we're here to advocate, make sure that they're taken care of, and that's what we do.
Gotcha. So what are some other services, like digging a little bit deeper, that Sharp offers a victim of sexual harassment or sexual assault?
So basically, we kind of work with Crisis Services North Alabama. We'll take them over there. We'll get them SAMPs, which is sexual assault, medical forensic examinations, basically anything they need, whether it be financial information. Basically that's more or less, to get more in depth with it. We'll do a DD form 2910, basically get all their information. We're there to advocate for them. We're there to advocate for them, anything that they need. We're there. We just want to let these folks know that they're there and what the options that are out there, and let them know that under MRE 514, which is a confidentiality agreement that we have between one another, that we're there. We're just there for them more than anything.
And when a person comes, a lot of times it's mental health, physical health, because we're talking about an assault, and it could be, depends on what degree of that assault it is. And also that person may need legal help, because if they're going to fight this, then we need to let them know. We have the SVCs, those folks are going to let them know what that means, the process of it, and to make sure that they know the law, make sure that they know, UCMJ law or civilian, depends on whatever route it goes. And then also their health benefits and mental benefit, because that's
Absolutely.
a big thing.
Behavior health.
So with that being said, who can benefit from the Sharp program? And anyone can answer.
So are you saying like who do we work for?
Yes, who can utilize it?
So there's a few new changes now. So DOD, at one time we were soldiers and dependents of the soldiers up to the age of 18 and above. But now we can take care of DOD employees. So what that means is we can go and advocate. There are different rules still. The laws are different for civilians than the UCMJ, but we can go with that civilian now and advocate for them the same as we would do for a soldier or dependent. So those are the only two differences. But now the program is for DOD, civilians, military members, and their family members
Wonderful.
over the age of 18. Make
Over
sure
the
that's
age, yeah.
clear.
Gotcha. And so how would someone reach out to you? How would someone contact you after they have had something like this happen to them? What is the proper steps to take?
Well, there's different ways. For instance, Mark, he's a two-sided. He worked on the CID side. So it could be a case where it's a full-blown case. Somebody reports it and CID's there and they said, hey, we need to get sharp here. And then you also have it where that person can come to us individually and say, hey, I'd like to make a report, keep it quiet, and go from there. And then, like Mark said, we get the 2910, we do that paperwork. So that is normally how they come to us. That's the normal two ways that we normally get these situations.
Okay, so you brought up something in your last statement that I kind of want to address. If someone were to witness sexual harassment or sexual assault, what can they do? Would they have the same steps or same measures?
Well, we try to separate the two because sexual harassment is totally different. Because sexual harassment, for instance, let's say you and I are partners and we're having a conversation and Mark hears us talking about our exclusive weekend or something. Mark can make a complaint about harassment with that, saying that, hey, they're talking about personal sexual type stuff at work. Whereas with a sexual assault, and that person needs to make their own claim for that. So Mark can say, hey, I'm bothered by the sexual harassment stuff that they're saying that's sexual at work, but he can't make a report. If I was harassing you, you got to make your own report with the sexual harassment, and that's EO for civilians. With the military, then they can come to us, but if you're talking about sexual harassment towards a civilian, that's EEO, our counterpart. They work with us.
Okay. So what would someone do to be able to prevent being sexually assaulted or sexually harassed?
There's a couple of steps that you can take. First of all, when you're going out, friends, family, or where you like to go, where to eat, go out with a friend, someone you can trust. And one thing I would say that you need to communicate your boundaries first before you even go out. Kind of have a backup plan, have a buddy with you. That's somebody, friend, family member, let them know where you're going, who you're going with, and probably approximate time that you'll be back. And maybe you can check up on them or they'll check up on you every now and then. But I would say have a plan in place just in case you do decide to drink a little bit too much. Have a buddy that you can trust and communicate those boundaries.
And attend our training. One of the things that we do, we go around, we get training, and we talk about these different through scenarios and things like that. We talk about this a lot. So as DOD members, the training that we provide helps with that. We make sure that you all know, here are some of the things that you can do, some of the steps that you can take to prevent it from happening, because prevention is the most important thing that we do to try to get ahead of these sexual harassments and assaults. But that's one of the big things. Attend the training, and we talk about a lot of times.
A lot of it boils down to you got to be aware of your surroundings as well. Like, for example, say if you're going to park a lot, going to Kmart, Walmart, wherever the case may be, they got those potential predators that are out there. Make sure you look in your backseat before you open up your car. Make sure your car is locked. Get an escort out there, get law enforcement out there if it's real late at night. I would also say you want to park in a well-lit area where you can be seen, or if you feel the need, if someone is following you in the car, you can always pull up to a gas station, where that's well-lit if you're not safe, even as far as going on parking inside of a police department. Those are kind of some of the steps that you can take.
Okay. For your trainings that you mentioned before, how could someone access that, say, if they're not on post?
Well, there was a time that you could, and we still have it for special predicaments. Like, let's say, for instance, you're at the garrison and you have a person that's deployed and they can't get the training from anyone else, because we try to do it as much as possible face-to-face. That person can go online and the commander could say, hey, look, I give Sergeant Gray permission to take that training because he or she is deployed and can't get training, they're, isolated somewhere else. But right now, the program is pushed to be face-to-face. That way we know that you're getting the message, people are getting the training, they know the rules, so that we don't have the issues with sexual harassment and assault. So face-to-face is the best way to do it, and that's what the Army's pushing now, and it's the best way to do it.
So how long have you been working on the SHARP program?
I've been working with SHARP now for 21 years. When Sharp first came out in 2003, I was what they call a DSARC, and they had to split the job because I was also an EOA. So I've been with Sharp now for 21 years with the program.
That's a long time.
Different activities, doing different parts. They took me out of it for a little bit because they had to split it because of the rules. Because an EOA, Equal Opportunity Advisor, does not have the same privilege of confidentiality that a DSARC at the time or a SARC has. So they had to pull us, say you cannot do both jobs, and then they had to assign someone else to that job. But I had the training, and that's when I first got into the SHARP program.
Gotcha. And Mark, what about you?
Me, since 2018, coming up on my 6-year mark, and that'll be this June. It's a very interesting career field to be into. What I find striking most about working in this job is that it's like we all know what it'd be like to help each other, help particular people who are in need. We know this, but I think being able to actually have a effect on them as an individual person, to be there for them, to let them know that we're there, to let them know there is somebody there to advocate for them, to be there, because a lot of folks don't realize about the SHARP program unless we are giving these briefings like Mr. Gray has said. They don't understand that we are here to help them, and that's one of the reasons why we stress them going to our briefings, our trainings, and we stress the importance of us going out, walk around in the community. Our pictures are everywhere, all in the community, so they know that we are friendly, we are approachable. That's what we're trying to get out. We are approachable, we are friendly, and we are here to advocate for you.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, Mark says that Mark was with the SHARP program within since 2018, but Mark was a CID agent, as I said before, so he has had work with the SHARP program from the CID level as well. So he's been around for a little while and kind of knows some of the different things before coming into the program. I just like to say that because that, to me, it does count. He has a different aspect, looking at the legal side, and we talk about it sometimes within ourselves. But I think that's interesting because he saw some of the folks that were affected, so he knows some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's not easy, working, just kind of revert back to Mr. Gray saying, work in some of those cases and see how being sexually assaulted, it hurts. It not only hurts the individual, but it also hurts the family member as well. And those who have been sexually assaulted, they're shaken up for life. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of behavioral health, a lot of support from the family members to get them over, whatever they need to get over. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not an easy concept to swallow.
What were the reasons behind getting into this program?
Well, for me, I just thought it was interesting. The unit that I was in, they wanted someone to take the position, and when it first came out with the SHARP program, it was kind of one of those things where they said, "Hey, you're the EOA. It seems to fall under the same cover, so we want you to do it." And that's how I got in originally. But then I kind of started hearing about it, and I said, I think that's interesting because you look back in the past, parties that I've been to when I was a young soldier, and some of the things I learned while working the program. And for instance, we would have these parties, and then people would leave and say, "Hey, I'm going to walk." In my case, I'm going to walk her back to her room, and folks have been drinking and having fun. Never in my mind did I think that an individual would take advantage of a person. We were all friends, and that's the way I looked at it. But now through the program, there's certain checks and balances that I do now, and I say, "Hey, are you okay?" Make sure that person is okay to leave with the other person, because you got a 230-pound guy like myself, and I take 2 drinks, and I'm not, you're definitely lighter than me, half my weight. You do the same, that drink affects you more. So now being in the program, it gives me a different outlook. So that's one of the big things with me, just kind of gathering and seeing that type of stuff, and it made changes throughout my life. So that's why I wanted to be a part of it, because it's like, this is interesting, and it kind of split off from the EO realm too. So it's kind of close, but not so close.
What about you, Mark?
For me, Larry kind of touched on it. I was part of law enforcement, and unfortunately, I did have opportunity to work some of those sexual assault cases, and I just felt the need that I can understand it better. Kind of on the other side of things, I'm supporting the sexual assault victim rather than just investigating crimes, and I just want to understand have a better aspect of view for what that client or person who's been sexually assaulted has, what they've gone through. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I went through it. I mean, as investigators, we really take it personal when we work crimes, if those have been sexually assaulted. But I really would, me doing that allowed me to have a better understanding, or being in this career field allowed me to have a better understanding of what I was doing on the other side. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of went to this side. And not only that, I really enjoy what I do now. So I have a better understanding of both sides of the spectrum, equal sides of the spectrum. So I kind of know how to help the client and best serve them now, before, during, and after the process, or the overall process.
Yeah. Is there a time limit if someone has been sexually assaulted? Is there a time limit to report it?
No time limit.
No time. There's no time there. Military-wise, there's no time limit.
Yes.
Military-wise, there's no time. The civilian sector, there may be a time limit. I'm not sure about those.
Different states.
Different laws. So, but military, DOD-wise, there's no time limit. I've actually had a master sergeant come to my office a while back, say he was sexually assaulted when he was in basic training. So you can think about from the time he was in basic training to a master sergeant now, we're thinking 12, 15, 17, 18 years. So there's no time constraints. We still take care of him or her regardless. It doesn't matter. There's no time constraints, DOD affiliation.
Something that you just said prompted a question. So when someone has been assaulted, what are things that they may experience mentally or emotionally?
That's a wide range.
Yes.
There are some, I wish we had a behavioral health specialist here to talk about that, but there are some people that you see different things. I've seen a soldier go from being a squared away soldier to start drinking, having issues at a unit, coming up to work late and things like that, because that's the way they responded to that trauma. And then you have some people that you don't know. And until something triggers it and that person has a breakdown, you don't know that it ever happened. So it's different things that could happen. Everybody has a different response. We can tell you some of the things that we've seen, but there's various ways that a person or persons will display that trauma.
If you, let's say, for example, say I know someone who has been sexually assaulted, what are ways that I can support them?
I say that one of the biggest ways you support them is let them know that you're there for them. Let them tell their story. Don't tell it for them. You know what I mean? Be there to listen to them. Let them know that, like you said, here to advocate for them. You're there. And then let them know that there are people that can help. Behavioral health. You got your SARCs, your SHARPs, your VAs, representative. You have your commanders, chaplains. I mean, we're all out here to help. We're all on one fight, one team. You know, so basically just be there, a listening ears. A lot of times they don't need your input. A lot of times they just want to be you to say what you need to say, or let them say what they need to say to you, rather than you just giving input all the time. Just listen, rather than just speaking.
Like Martin said, just let them know that there's help out there. And a lot of times, a lot of people try to, hey, you must go tell Sharp, you must do this. They don't have to. Just kind of sit back and see what that person wants to do, get a feeling for it. And then we would like to get, if a person in the military that did it, the alleged, then we definitely want to make sure that we try to get that person out of the service. But we want to look out for the victim first. And that's our main thing, to make sure that that victim is taken care of. So as a friend, your best thing is to make sure that he or she is doing okay, because sometimes that person doesn't know that they're going through trauma. And if you can find a way to persuade them to seek help and let them know the avenues and just kind of talk to them about it, use it, but don't force it. Like Mark said, just try to, you want to, hey, well, you know, do you think you might want to talk to Sharp? Instead of, hey, you got to talk to Sharp. Do you think you might want to go to the hospital and get checked out? Instead of saying you have to go. So try to use your, different techniques to sway that person to get help. And that's probably the best thing that you can do for them.
Like Larry was saying, people handle things differently. I've seen some folks who've talked to me just say, hey, I just wanted to go away. I mean, I've talked to some folks who just said, when the act was happening itself, I noticed one lady in particular said she would just look at the squares on the ceiling and count them, and just wanted it to go away. A lot of people just want it to go away. So. Yeah.
Are there preventative measures for someone who is working in an environment where they feel harassed, but they don't know if it's actually harassment? Like, is there anything that they can do?
Well, there's a lot of techniques that we talk about in the training, and like the best is straight up to say, hey, For instance, if I'm the person, Larry, I'm not comfortable with what you're saying, what you're doing. Those things bother me, and that should be one of the things that you do. Just be straight up with that person. But let's say Larry's 6'1", and you may be a little afraid of Larry because of his demeanor. Then you can go to Mark. There's different avenues. Hey, Mark, can you talk to Larry about this situation? These things that he's doing is kind of bothering me. So there's different things that you can do. You can go direct, indirect, but you definitely want to make sure that you try to get ahead of it and let them know, because some people think that they're being funny and that the crowd is laughing at their jokes. Well, sometimes people laugh when they're uncomfortable. So you definitely want to let that person know to the best of your ability that it's bothering you. But the straight attack is normally that informal right in their face. Say, hey, I'm not cool with you being this way and making these jokes or doing whatever it is that's bothering you. And I need you to stop because it's not appropriate. And those are the best ways, because, I always use a scenario like if you're in a club and somebody screams out, hey, who touched me? Real loud. That I've seen that happen. And I've seen people that didn't do it freeze because they're all paying attention to who said that. So whatever it takes for you to protect yourself, you do it.
Another question that I have is, if someone is, let's say they have been assaulted, but they've been holding it in for a while because they're afraid to discuss this due to maybe some repercussions that they feel would happen, what advice or help could you give them just from this video?
Well, one thing I will say is we want to make sure that that person's comfortable in the environment, and if they need help, seek help, then come and we'll take care of them. But the one thing that we try to do with the training is let everybody feel comfortable with approaching us so that they can come and talk to us and know that they can get help at any time. And that's why we have to be in this job. You can't go around being a leader and, for instance, being assigned to do this, and then you got a predicament where you have to command soldiers or make them do things because it's not comfortable to come talk to somebody later on once you've done that. So you got to have empathy. So when that person comes to you, that you can kind of make an adjustment. But if you're the person that's been affected, one thing I always say is it's better if you come forward, because if I'm a commander and I got a mission and then the person has been affected and they're acting out and then they're late for formation, coming in later, not taking care of themselves, and I, as a commander or a first sergeant or a leader, I see this and I'm like, hey, you're not doing this because I don't know. It's a tough predicament for that commander because they don't know what's bothering you. They just see a soldier that's falling off. So I always try to find a way to make people feel comfortable coming to me. That way they can always get that help, because if they don't feel comfortable and the command is not giving that outlook that, hey, we're here to support the SHARP program, that's the biggest thing. So that commander, is their program. That commander has to be all in and let every individual soldier know that they're going to be taken care of and that it's important to them as well. And if that is done by the commander and he or she is doing what they're supposed to do to make sure that the program is being trained, all prevention stuff is being put up, and they're supporting the program, that soldier normally comes up and says, hey, I want to come forward with this. It's kind of like with a good parent. Kids that have good parents, and those parents are good listeners as well as folks that's telling them what to do, those kids will come to you and talk to you. That's an example. But if you're a parent that's bam, 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 always hardcore, do as I say, and that type of stuff, you may end up losing that kid to talk to you about certain things. So a commander that's somewhat approachable, not always, got a lot of things going on, but if you don't carry yourself with a little bit of empathy, that soldier is probably going to be a little bit afraid of you.
Kind of piggyback on what Mr. Gray said, like as far as what he spoke on was basically like retaliation. And one thing that we kind of stress in our briefings and our trainings that Redstone Arsenal, we don't retaliate. We're not tolerate retaliation. We're not going to tolerate it. We have a good chain of command here that has our back for the most part. They support the SHARP program. If anyone feels the need that they want to do file a report, whether it's sexual harassment or sexual assault, feel free to come forward. There's no need to be scared. Although, some might not have, the ability or the want to file a complaint. But we just want to put this out there that don't be ashamed, don't be afraid, because we are here to help. and you have your chain of commands back. And retaliation will not be tolerated here at Redstone.
To throw in a wild card before we kind of end things,
Bring it on.
if someone has previously been in relationship with the person who has assaulted them, if at one point in time they were consenting, let's say maybe alcohol has gotten into the mix or anything, I mean, any kind of drug or alcohol has now come into the mix. If this person is feeling guilty, what can you say? And when I say guilty, I mean like that they somehow brought this upon themselves. What words of encouragement could you give them?
Okay, so I just want to make sure we're clear
Yes,
because it's
yes,
different
I understand. This
programs
is-
that handle different things. So, for instance, if you're a spouse and you felt like your spouse sexually, because a spouse can sexually assault a spouse. So that program is FAP. That's going to Family Advocacy Program. They will handle that case because it's a family. At one time, we were testing the theory of if they were dating at one time, that it wouldn't go to SHARP, it would go to FAP. And that's where we are again, because it went away, but then it came back. So if there were relations before, and let's say, I'm going to use your remark, you were a couple, something happened, and you need someone to talk to, then the FAP program would be the one to take care of it, because you had, you lived together or you were in a relationship, and that's who would handle that program, because it's kind of like a family issue then. But though, there are different avenues, but if something happens and you want to talk to someone and let's say you're DOD civilian, it's a little bit different. We would have to help you research and find people that you can talk to, crisis services and stuff like that. Soldiers, they get taken care of on base because we do have folks for them to talk to, behavioral health on base. So it's a little bit tricky, but we will find you help and folks that will help with that situation if you just want to talk and find out what avenues to take or how to handle it.
I would say the first thing I would want that particular person to understand that don't blame yourself.
Yes.
And don't be, there are opportunities that are out there that want to take advantage of people, and have a listening ear. It's not your fault that you were sexually assaulted. It's not your fault that you were sexually harassed. It's just opportunities out there want to take advantage of somebody else. And like what Mr. Gray said, we want to make sure that you have someone that you can talk to. And that's basically what our SHARP program, what people need to realize and what they need to understand is that we are here for them. We are here for them. We need you here at work. We need you working at Redstone Arsenal here. So we are here to help. We're here to advocate for you and make sure you get back on your feet. We do the best we can to keep your information confidential. Confidential is a big thing within our program. And more than anything, you need somebody, because you can't take on this being sexually harassed or sexually assaulted by yourself. You need somebody. If you need anybody to talk to, you got Mr. Larry Gray, you got myself, you have our lead sergeant, Ms. Jewel Loving. You have somebody here. For AMC, we're here for you. And that's one of the biggest things we want to put out during our trainings, because a lot of folks don't realize, a lot of civilians especially don't know what the SHARP program, what we can do for them. So the past couple of years now, we can assist civilians, DOD civilians. So we just want to put that out during this our little session right here.
Yes.
So it's not their fault.
Yes.
Long story short.
I asked that question because a lot of women that I have encountered that have been sexually assaulted have felt guilty because it was someone that they have either known or engaged with at some point in time. And so the feeling of coming forward, there's a blame that was kind of placed on self. Like, well, if I hadn't in the past, then maybe this would not have happened. And so I just kind of wanted to clear the air with that question, because we don't want that to prevent them from coming forward to get the help that they need.
And a lot of times from what I've witnessed or what I've been around or I've seen and heard, is a lot of people, male or female, whether who were sexually assaulted, they don't want to get that particular person in trouble because they know them.
Right.
They know them already. They trusted them. Hey, this was my boyfriend. This was my girlfriend. Regardless, boyfriend, girlfriend, it doesn't matter. They trusted this person, and this goes back to communicating your boundaries. Let this particular person know, hey, I like you as a friend. I don't see you that way. Or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. Just communicate your boundaries.
And if it's already happened, that's why behavioral health is so important in this program, because if you come forward to us and you say, hey, look, I just want to talk to somebody and see how to handle this, and then that person as a professional can help with your mental state and probably get you in a comfortable position where you can talk about it and feel better, because that's a big thing. We're advocating for you. So those people, they have a pretty important job and they can probably help you come to a point where you can say, hey, you know what? I do want to talk about this. I do want to go forward with this to end this, get this ordeal over with because it's still bothering me. And that's why if we can get someone to go talk to them, it helps a lot too because it makes that person feel better. Your health is most important.
Mental health.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. Are there any things that you feel like you would like to say before we close out? Anything that you feel like our audience needs to know?
Well, we got a lot of programs going on for the SAPM this month. Please come out. We still got yoga on the 25th of April. We got a run on the 24th. We want folks to come out and deal with the prevention type stuff and come out and see we're going to be doing more things now in this area because we have a new leader, new program, and we're going to be not just in April, but we're going to be doing things throughout the year.
More than less, just like Mr. Gray was saying, we got a lot of stuff going on through the month of April, not only in April, throughout the year. And more than less, I just want the folks out there to realize that, SHARP is here and, we can help DoD civilians more than anything else. And we're here to advocate for you and let you know that we are approachable. Approach us. If you see us out there in the community, whether it be the PX, commissary, gas station, wherever the case may be, say hello. Because 9 times out of 10, between me and Mr. Gray's personality, is we're gonna be talking anyways to everybody when we're walking around. So once again, I want to say I appreciate you having us as a SHARP team. Appreciate Mr. Larry Gray being here with me and giving us our opportunity to speak about our program. I just want to say thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on here with
Thanks
us.
for having us.
And we hope that this time was informative for you so that if at any point in time this information needs to be utilized, it's right here and accessible to you. Thank you.